It is 6 o'clock. I will call to order the February 4th, 2026 meeting of the Amity City Council. Please rise and join me in saluting the flag. Thank you. Will you take roll for us, please, Tasha?
Present.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here. Thank you. We'll start with the consent agenda. We have budget versus actuals, the regular council meeting minutes from January, the special council meeting minutes from January, and the work session minutes.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passes. We'll move into citizen comments and questions. This is an opportunity to present items not on the regular agenda. Please state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. We have the sheriff's office report in the packet, and I don't see them here. Aaron, would you like to come up and give us a dig report?
New ideas, but the vendor forms are out and the art's being produced, and the daffodils are coming up, so I think that was really good. And so then I guess I should also say the big meetings are now more regularly scheduled on a monthly basis. And oh boy, I forgot what that date is, but let's see.
I think it's the third Thursday.
And we have been having it the last few meetings up at Plato offices because there's a big screen and been doing a lot of work on the website and just some of that kind of stuff so that they can be typed in there and they can see what they're working on. So that's also 5:30 now, so maybe it's 5:30 and on Thursdays, pretty much every Thursday. Because right now that festivals every other. So what happened or just what's going on, and we can get that word out to everybody.
Thank you.
So
Okay, thank you. Do we have any comments or questions from the audience with us tonight? And I don't see anyone else online. No one else online? No.
I apologize. Emily was asking to join
Okay.
from the News Register, so.
Okay. Well, we will get her in here. Emily, please speak up now if you have a citizen comment or question. Otherwise, we will move on to old business, of which there is none, and into new business. So our first item this evening is city council donations. We got an updated list a little later in the week. I don't know if there's any comments or questions on this item.
It's still less than the suggested donation,
No.
correct? No? That's the full.
That's the, yeah.
For some reason I had 6,000 stuck in my head.
That was the total of all donations was like 6,215?
Not just the Yamhill Transit.
No.
Motion to approve the donations as recommended and revised.
Second.
All those in favor, oh, I'm sorry. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the donations as recommended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Donations approved. Our second item is small city allotment grant. This is coming up, and Nathan had a proposal for what he would like to apply for.
Yes, the SCA grant funding is opening. I think I'm a little ahead of the game. They don't, the grants open early March through end of April. So we do have a little bit of time if there's any interest in looking at alternative projects that we may consider. However, for this grant, given where our paving assessment is at and road conditions throughout the city of Amity, I would propose to apply this grant for a project south of Nursery that would resurface South Jellison Avenue and then construct road base and pavement for pretty much all of the small side streets along Jellison that are currently gravel or those failing oil mat kind of chip seal roads. That includes Barney Alley, Church Avenue, both sides, and then Thatcher and Roth, and a portion of Ketchum as well. Some of Ketchum will be done with the upcoming Oak Street project, but the eastern half of Ketchum will not be. So the hope would be that we would be able to just kind of work through that area and hit all of those roads. Doing similar work to what we did over on Enos and Stanley, it wouldn't necessarily be a major expansion or improvement, but a restoration of pavement where it currently is outlined, if you will. So on each of those small side streets, I think they're right now about 20 feet wide. Much smaller than city's typical standard, but also it's what's been existing there for a long time. And so it would just be to restore those to smooth paved surfaces, not to expand or build sidewalk or anything like that, unfortunately. So.
And that was my question. Do we have a standard right-of-way width or pavement width for the streets that are classified as those like alleys or?
They're not. So in our TSP, there isn't a classification for alley or small side street. It's just local. Okay. And so we do have a standard right-of-way width for local streets. I'd have to get the number to be sure, but I want to say it's 28 to 30 feet wide. And so it would not, there's not enough funding here to try to bring those streets up to standard. Mm-hmm. Expanding the roadway requires significantly more design, engineering work, and as well as actual work. But the bigger portion of that is the added complexity when we try to expand.
So one question though, if we do pursue this, is could we get, and maybe you have this, just to know what right-of-way we currently own on any of those? Like even if we know there's 20 feet of pavement and that's what we're going to be replacing, resurfacing, if we were able to see like, oh, but we have 30 feet of right-of-way here, or we only own 22 feet, I think that might be helpful if in the future we try to move to bigger upgrades to just know what we're working with.
Yep.
That would be awesome.
I can certainly find those.
Any questions from council or concerns or alternatives that they would like to bring up for conversation?
I think it's a nice project because we did the Goucher. Oak is going to get done, and it's just a nice way to tie that whole south end together.
Well, those side streets are
They're
pretty bad.
they're
Very
pretty
much needed.
Yeah, they're rough.
So I think it's a good choice.
I feel like as far as like geography wide, this catches the largest amount of continuous failing. Like in our report, how there was the failing list. These are the closest together if it has to be one pretty continuous project. Okay. So again, this would just be approving an application. Do you know off the top of your head, Nathan, when we would get news whether this was approved?
So I asked about the timeline and schedule because they've shifted it a bit over the last couple of years. I believe funding and awards would be announced in July, and then we would likely be looking at contracting with ODOT in September. So the work for this project likely, almost certainly, would not happen until summer of 2027.
Or spring?
Spring, yeah. Anytime basically after March 15th,
Okay.
when the weather gets nice.
Motion to approve the SCA grant application for the proposed project.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the SCA grant application for the proposed project. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passes. Our next item is Safe Routes to School Construction Grant. So this is another transportation system grant with the application window opening at the end of this month. The project that Nathan shared and that is outlined is one that comes directly from the Safe Routes to School plan that council approved late last year, I believe it was. Nathan, I don't know if you had anything to add.
Nothing specific to add, just, again, we're ahead of the game here. Just wanted to kind of bring up that Safe Route to School plan, acknowledge the upcoming construction grant, and then discuss and get consensus on that project listed in that Safe Routes to School plan being our top priority for this grant application. And unfortunately, the pages I had didn't include a map necessarily, but it would be sidewalk infill connecting the elementary school with the middle school and high school. We had originally been thinking, prior to this plan, we had been thinking to go all the way on Jellison from Rice down to 3rd Street. But after walking it with the consultants that put together the plan, as well as school district officials, 3rd Street and Jellison feels like a bit of a tight corner, and there's not a lot of extra right-of-way along 3rd Street. And so instead, what we ended up proposing here was to go from Rice to Rosedale along Jellison, turn west on Rosedale to cut over to Oak, and then straight down Oak Avenue to the middle school, high school.
So if you were leaving the middle school, high school, you would keep going up Oak Street all the way to Rosedale over and then Jellison.
It's a
To
more
the
generous
existing.
corner for sure.
Yeah. And the cost estimates, I will just say, are what was put together for us by the consultants. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what bids would come in at, but I think that that would be a good amount to request for a project this size, with the hope that it didn't take all of that.
Question.
Yes.
What problem is this fixing?
So between the elementary school and the middle school right now, we have a lot of people that travel that way to get back and forth, commuting to school. And if anything on this south side of town going to the elementary school, there's not continuous sidewalks to walk.
Right?
So this would put sidewalks, a walkable, safe route to school from the middle school, high school area where buses drop kids off to the elementary school.
So part of the problem is too many parents clogging up the roads, driving their kids to school when they might not need to, and just really causing traffic jams. Is that it?
Well, no,
Well-
I mean, sidewalks are important for safety, and it's just creating a safe pathway for children to walk on. And
How
citizens-
many,
Yeah.
how many incidences have you had in, say, the last 10 years?
ODOT has that. They have like a crash matrix, but what it is a safe route to school. Oregon ODOT grant funding really tries to promote pedestrian mobility to cut down on that car congestion. So yes, if we create ways for students to walk, roll, bike to school, have a safe way to get there, one of the main things is it cuts down on traffic.
You're saying that putting in these sidewalks is going to reduce the congestion on those roads?
No,
It's one of the hopes, but we don't
that's
know that.
one of the stated goals of this money.
I see. So it's a stated goal, but it's not based on any reality. You don't really expect that.
We do expect that.
Oh, okay. I just want to be sure.
But I'm not saying that will be, because that's the expectation, that's what the consultant, that's
Right.
what the, experts that came and studied our traffic during those times said. Yes, we agree with you. Having a safe route between these two schools will enable more people to safely use other modes of transportation. Another part of this, so we did, the first part of the grant funding was to pay for the consultant to make this plan. The second part is the construction grants. The third part is then you work again with the school districts it's a education program to promote the use of multimodal transportation. But it's really hard for us to promote children walking to school when there is not a safe sidewalk area to walk on.
Okay, I guess I could come back to the problem I'm having is, why isn't it safe? This small rural town has been doing it this way for as long as it's been a small rural town. Why is it no longer safe?
I don't
And
think it's
why
ever
do you-
I don't
been
think it's
safe.
ever been
No.
safe.
It hasn't?
I mean, there's been tons of studies over time that say a sidewalk is safer to walk on for pedestrians than just open road. And it's not just a sidewalk. I mean, that's also making our pathways ADA accessible. There are a lot of people in mobility devices or cannot walk on gravel and ditches and things like that. A sidewalk makes our town accessible to everyone.
So along this route you were talking about, there's a lot of that.
There's no sidewalks. Well, it's not.
But there's lots of gravel and stuff like that that people can't walk on.
Ditches, gravel, just road. So no sidewalks at all.
Okay, so this is an ADA thing.
Well,
No.
It's another piece of it.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Okay, it just makes, it seems to me like it's both a monetary waste and a social waste, that's all. I just don't see it. I mean, human beings are creative, and if they have any kind of a brain, they can usually manage. I mean, I remember when I grew up, I lived in a town of over 90,000. Yeah, we had sidewalks because 15 feet away, cars were going 45 miles an hour. And sometimes they didn't care about the sidewalks. So I can appreciate that. It just, here, it doesn't seem quite, in this particular route too, it just doesn't seem quite that imperative. So I was just trying to understand
Yeah.
the real drive behind it.
Yeah, so part of the Safe Route to School plan that we adopted was that we worked with not only the 3 school entities in the school district, but I met with APAT, which is the PTA, and establishing this safe walking route between the schools was the top priority of community members. When we talked about all the improvements we could do within the city to promote different types of transportations, cut down on the congestion, and what would best benefit our students, this project here was what the majority asked for.
And our
So
surveys have consistently,
Our annual surveys as well, but I just restate that to say it's not because, oh, we think this is the way to go. It's that we did the outreach. This is what people want. If we have this opportunity available, we should reach out and try to pursue something that our citizens and our students are saying, this is what we want to be more safe.
Okay, so people said, okay. All right, just last thing, have we as a group thought it through just in case this does not meet your goals? What then?
Can
Because
you
this is
repeat
rather
that last
permanent,
part?
isn't
Yeah.
it?
So if we receive $2 million, we put in sidewalks and it does not provide a safe walking route to school?
Yeah, if it does not, well, it was more than that, it was also reduced congestion, right, you said? So if those things don't happen, have we thought about what comes next?
So as a council, we adopted this whole plan. You can read that, but this was the top priority project.
Okay.
There are many traffic calming, reducing priorities, as well as just our transportation plan that we have, that obviously we are trying to address incrementally as we can with our budget, but when grant opportunities arise, we need to pursue those if they align with our adopted plans.
Okay.
So, I mean, to answer your questions, we would keep pursuing the projects that have already been approved, that are, have been chosen because of their alignment with our goals.
Okay.
Any other questions? Concerns?
Nathan, do you know what size grants are available? Like, is 2 million an ask that will likely?
2 million is totally acceptable for the
Yeah.
Safe Routes to School program.
In the past, we have packaged our request closer to the 500,000. So this is a jump, but like I said, this is when we worked with the ODOT subcontracted consultants that, are dealing with these applications in this program all the time. This was their suggestion because of how we could show the need. All right.
Motion to approve the SRTS construction grant application for the proposed project.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the Safe Routes to School construction grant application for the proposed project. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by saying no.
No.
Motion passes. Our next item is to open up union contract negotiations. This is pretty straightforward. We just wanted to bring awareness and bring it before the council. Nathan, do you have anything to add?
Nothing particular to know, other than, the union has reached out to open union negotiations for that collective bargaining agreement. Nothing specific further.
I move to authorize the city administrator Nathan Farrick and Mayor Rachel King to negotiate the union contract.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to authorize the city administrator, Nathan Fark, and Mayor Rachel King to negotiate the union contract. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passes. Our last item of new business is railroad crossing improvements. This is something Nathan brought up because it's kind of an opportunistic time. It is not something that we talked about when we were listing capital improvement projects just recently, but I will let him take the floor to give a rundown just of the background, and then I think he has some additional pictures.
I do, yeah, just to give everybody a sense of what I'm talking about. As Mayor King said, this is really just an opportunity that came my way that I figured I'd bring to council and see if there was interest in pursuing. It is a fairly expensive opportunity if we were interested, but I think it could be worked to be sizable depending on council's priorities. The Portland Western Railroad recently let me know that they were planning an upcoming maintenance project. I believe they've started stockpiling supplies. I just drove down 5th Street and there's a pile of railroad ties right there. They're planning to essentially replace all the railroad ties along several miles of track, I believe. And so they mentioned that, and I asked if that would include improving the crossings at 5th Street, 6th Street, well, not 5th Street, since that's ODOT right away, but 6th Street, 4th Street, and then 1st Street. And they said that it would be improving the crossings in the sense that they will rip them out, put new ties down, put new rail down, and then repave. But I asked if there was an opportunity to do the concrete panels. That's what exists on 5th Street right now. And that's where I have a few pictures that we can look at if it's on. But they said that we can. They're willing to install them for us and handle them, but the city would be purchasing the panels ourselves. And so that's where the price comes in, and they are fairly pricey. But as far as a lasting improvement along the railroad tracks goes, they do make a fairly sizable difference. Let me pull up these pictures for reference of what I'm looking at. These are the end deflectors that they called out. Those are a little optional piece, but really it's these concrete panels that go along the tracks. They prevent or help prevent the damage to the asphalt that you can see on 4th Street and 6th Street. Those crossings in particular are pretty rough and bumpy.
Nathan, is there any way that we could share the images with Councilor Luker?
Yes. Let me share my screen. Good call.
It was just very helpful for me to see the visuals of what was being talked about, so.
Yes, I apologize. Councilor Luker, these are the concrete panels that I was referring to. Let me pull up that final picture. That's kind of what it looks like in a road. I should have grabbed pictures from 5th Street and 6th Street and 4th Street respectively, but basically this will help prevent the damage along the track that causes the extreme bumpiness through 4th Street and 6th Street areas. But as we said, or as I said, the railroad will be restoring them. So I think we're going to get a slight improvement either way. They'll come back with nicer pavement. But if we are interested, we have the opportunity to kind of upgrade to these concrete panels.
We had talked about the potential of doing some water work under that 4th Street. Would that be tearing all that up?
That is a great question. The way we did it on 6th Street and the way I have it engineered, no.
Okay, so it wouldn't be, if we did 4th Street, it wouldn't be then just
We would likely bore under the railroad again. It feels almost silly if the railroad's torn up to still not just dig a trench and put a water line in. But for liability, generally it's liability reasons. Most water line contractors don't want to have the liability that if something goes wrong and they block the train from going at its scheduled time, they're responsible for whatever kind of financial hardship the railroad wants to throw at them. And so typically, it's easier for everyone involved, and the railroad will generally only approve it this way if the city bores underneath. Yeah, the same way we did Sixth Street not that long ago. So,
Counselor Shields, you looked like you.
Well, I was curious, I don't remember off the top of my head where those streets are, as far as in our street repair and what kind of condition those are in compared to everything else. I mean, just thinking out loud here, if we decide not to do this and we just have the regular asphalt crossing that we currently have, when the streets are repaired, it may be an opportunity to do that as well, if that's not too far in the future.
But it's that stuff right up against the railroad that wouldn't get redone if we just re-asphalt it, right?
it's possible that we could redo the pavement asphalt. I'm not sure. I haven't worked through the railroad permitting process for that. I think it is something that the city could redo, but it would require a railroad permit and all of the associated fees and paperwork and everything along with that, so.
And it's not, my understanding is it's not very feasible to go with these concrete panels at any time except for when they're already there redoing the track, right? That's not something we could just add because we're working on the street.
Yeah, again, it would be one of those liability things where if we can at all avoid the liability of potentially stopping the railroad, stopping the trains from going because of construction work, then I would rather them do it. I would rather them do the work. And that's something that their maintenance crew has volunteered a couple of times that if we were to get the panels, they would install them. So it's possible that they would be willing to install them at a later time too, if we, did the demolition of what's there or something along those lines.
Do we know the difference in lifespan between the two options?
Between leaving it paved and moving with concrete?
Yeah.
I don't. I don't know the number of years that each would be expected to last.
Yeah, do you know how long Fifth Street has been?
Has been with panels? I do not.
The concrete panels provide a longer lifespan. They hold up longer, but I don't know that we know the actual.
Well, my concern
Thank
with
you.
that is that, it's obviously a pretty big expense, and I don't remember which, is this
This is, Fourth here that goes
fourth
to the
here?
park.
Fourth is fairly high traffic, but the other ones, maybe not so much. Because the park's right down there and the truck outfit is right there. So, you have heavy traffic over that crossing all the time. That one makes the most sense to me, but I'm not sure on the other ones.
To me, First is less, First feels like it's in pretty decent shape. And Fourth is the one that I'm going over 8 times a day, so that's the one I know the best. And it's gotten rougher in the
It's
last
horrible.
couple years.
Yeah.
My personal inclination would be if we were going to proceed with one, it be Fourth only after looking at these prices. But because this is a brand new concept, I'm just gonna have everyone weigh in. Before I do that, Nathan, is there any other information for us to have before we keep at this discussion?
I don't think so, but let me just come back to this. Looking at the kind of pricing sheet that I put together, I did want to call out that on Fourth Street and on Sixth Street, they have what I'm calling the main track, where the train regularly goes through, and then they both have spur crossings as well. Um, The spur crossings, when I drove over them and took pictures, both spur crossings are in much better shape than the main track, which makes sense. The trains don't go on the spur track nearly as often. In fact, I'm not sure they're really in use other than to occasionally store railroad equipment. And so if there was interest, I haven't confirmed when, where, or not with the railroad yet. I've tried to, but I believe that like the cost that they gave me for Fourth Street was a total of $46,000, but I believe I could split that out and choose one track or the other. If we only wanted to do the main, we could do the 23,000 there, or do that crossing and then maybe do a crossing at a different spot.
So am I understanding correctly that you think that the train is what's causing the deterioration of those and not vehicles running over it? I mean, if the spur is in better shape, I mean, that would stand to reason. But I was under the assumption that the vehicle traffic was causing the damage to the crossing.
It tends to be the trains themselves. They're heavy enough that they don't really care about the asphalt, and so they break it up.
So we are covering their butts for the damage they do to these roads?
So they're redoing the asphalt, and this would just help maybe preserve the asphalt so it wouldn't need as much frequent repair, is that?
This would install the concrete panels,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
And
But I think
the damage is not being done to our city roads. It's being done on their private property that they own, which we drive across. So
No, I get it.
Yeah.
It's legal nitpicking. I get it.
yeah, and so they are responsible for what is within their right of way and, the property they own, and they are also allowed to let it deteriorate to their standard of what they feel is okay for their trains. Even if that doesn't meet the standards that we would like to drive over, because it's their private property that we have essentially an easement to drive back and forth across, because it's a transportation lane. Counselor Luker, just,
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna kind of go around, so I'll go Counselor Luker and then you, Counselor Blanco. Do you have thoughts, or would you like to weigh in on what we've discussed so far?
Yeah, it's a catch 22. You have the train damaging, I understand, right away and property rights, but we also have log trucks that come through our town there, especially off of 153. It's the same scenarios that we have on Barney Alley and Church. The log trucks tear it up. I mean, it's what it is, and I don't know if there's a clean solution for this or not.
I'll just question you. So seeing the different options of the 6th Street with 2 crossings, 4th Street with 2 crossings, 1st Street with 1 crossing, do you have a preference of any of those being prioritized, and or do you feel like this is something we should pursue at all at this time?
I would suggest 153 going out of town. That seems to be, high traffic area for residents to leave Amity and head west towards Willamina and Sheridan. But that's, like I said, your state,
So 5th Street already has the concrete panels. It would be 4th or 6th. So 153 is 5th Street. So 6th Street is the one that the market's on, and 4th Street is the one that Amity Truck and Trailer is on. And then 1st Street is.
it's been Mayor, it's been a while since I've been across. Obviously, we've got construction going on 6th Street, so it's been a minute since I've gone across that. I do know 4th Street crossing is pretty bad up there by the Amity Truck repair shop. So, but I would say, 6 to 1, half dozen the other. Either one probably could be repaired.
Okay. thank you. Counselor Blanco?
So I had a question. So we basically have two ways to repair these. One, using these concrete things, and a second would be just doing the road like it is now and just fixing it up with asphalt and stuff. Is that correct?
So they are repairing their tracks, and so that entails the repair of the tracks
Right.
and asphalt up to where our street ends.
Right.
Which is what it is currently, but it will be better.
Okay,
Because right now you have the tracks and then the asphalt is eroding away at the edge of
Right.
the tracks. So the repairs that they have planned and will do will replace that asphalt up down, but it erodes quicker
Right,
than the
right.
concrete. And so in conjunction with their work, if we wanted to pay extra,
Right.
they would install.
Right.
But those
So
are our two options.
over the, what, did you say you had an idea of what the lifespan of this kind of, these concrete panels is?
I do not,
Okay.
unfortunately.
I'm just curious as to, between the two methods, over, say, I don't know what, a 15, 20-year span, I don't know, maybe it's only 10 years, what are the competing costs there?
Well, the cost right now for the asphalt to the city is nothing. They will be doing it.
Okay,
And then we have this price sheet that shows what the other option would cost us.
okay. So if they're doing it, what is the concern?
It was simply a question of if we would like to upgrade to the concrete panels
I see, okay,
and maintain a more pleasant driving experience for a longer period of time.
Because we've seen how they let it degrade before
Right.
they are gonna come in the next time
so
and
if
do
they
these
put these
improvements.
concrete pieces in, they would be, some of them are between the tracks,
Yes.
which I assume they own?
They would own all of
All
it.
of it. So if anything happened to the concrete things, they'd be repairing those too, correct?
At their discretion.
No.
At their discretion, I see. And repairing the asphalt when they do other repairs is not at their discretion?
They will do it, they're saying that their scope of project is they will do it within what they own up to the roads in transition.
Okay,
So, I mean, yes, it still will
it's
be.
still at their
yeah.
discretion. Okay, all right, okay, I got a better idea of it.
Counselor Thompson?
So quick, Google AI says, that those concrete panels have a lifespan of 15 to 30 years, which is a broad range, but there's that. I think if we were to pursue this, I would not be inclined to do First Street. And I think looking up, as somebody who drives that Fourth Street crossing frequently, it's really rough. It's hard, it's so hard to say because we don't know how much nicer it's gonna get with the new asphalt.
No.
But I will say that just in the last couple of years, Fourth Street has gotten significantly worse, just in the last couple of years. So I know that asphalt does degrade pretty quickly. So I would personally look at focusing on First and or Fourth, sorry. And I think if we were gonna do it at all, I think we should do both of them. And just have a kind of a constant thing at that intersection.
Counselor Rachel Blanco, do you have thoughts on the options presented or in general of pursuing this?
Well, I think if the asphalt is driving over that stuff is rough as heck. And I think if the asphalt is degrading so quickly that it's like noticeable to daily commuters, 15 to 30 years sounds like a pretty good deal. Because I've seen how the railroad's infrastructure looks, and I don't really trust that they're even going to be back to fix it in 15 to 30 years, so.
And then did you have thoughts on prioritization of the locations, the 6th, 4th, or 1st?
I'd want to like physically look at them, but it sounds like people who go on those roads frequently are saying Fourth is worst, so I'd say Fourth.
Okay, anything else?
No,
Or
I
less?
would just say like, if you could like look at them, assuming they were all done by the railroad around the same time before, if you looked at them, I guess you'd be able to pretty quickly tell which one was the highest priority, because it'd be the one with the most damage.
My observation is Fourth Street as well. I think we've heard that from a couple other people.
They've done just like a little bit of patchy fill work.
Wait, so is
Yes.
Fourth Street, sorry, I was gonna
Yeah.
look at a map, but I could just ask, if Fourth Street's the one,
It's almost just across, yeah, that
Right here
leads
that
right to the
goes-
park.
oh, yeah, that one.
The one that if you have a real low car, you want to take a different route.
Yes, that one. I would say that one.
So
Thank-
using the asphalt,
Just a second, I'm
I
gonna.
apologize.
No,
I'm
that's
sorry.
okay. I'm gonna
Thinking out
let,
loud,
I
sorry.
was just gonna thank Council President Bojorquez for her patience because she hasn't spoken yet. So I'll let her,
Sorry.
and then I will get back to you.
I think it's a worthwhile investment for our community, not only to preserve the asphalt that's there, but for just a better path of driving. It's a very large budget ask to do all of them. I think both crossings at Fourth would be worthwhile, maybe looking at Sixth. But I think it's part of being a good partner with other owners in our city and creating, safe roads and pleasant roads for our community to drive on. And we're not going to get free labor again. We may get free labor if we ask, but if we're doing it while they're already repairing, it's a lot less of an ask. And they're offering it.
I will add to that, I was concerned with these prices, not because I don't think they're appropriate for the supplies, but just because we are all familiar with our streets budgets. So I would not be comfortable moving forward with everything. But I also had a question for Nathan earlier this week of, is there room for negotiations? And a question I brought up is like the ties, right? Putting in the concrete panels, they will need a different type of ties than they normally would, but they will no longer be putting out the cost for the ties they would be using. So I asked him if he felt like there was possibly room for negotiation in price. These bids, it looks like a fine number, but if we knew that if we were to give recommendation on a budget, know that that would be the max, with the expectation that we have that discussion and try to come in it as good partners and then get that price lower is what we were really hoping to see. Councilor Blanco.
I was just gonna say, it seems like, here we can put the asphalt back and yeah, it'll be good for a little while, but you know how that stuff falls apart. So yeah, that's gonna be terrible. However, we got this lovely concrete trick over here we can do, and it's only gonna cost you this much. It almost sounds like a bait and switch to me in some ways. So I would think, short of, which I think would be ideal, a complete donation to the city of putting these in, because of all the money they'll save in the long run of not having to repair them for up to 30 years, at least a better price might be negotiated.
And I don't think that, Nathan, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think that they respectfully reached out to Nathan to let them know they were doing work, and the concrete panel idea came from him. So it wasn't like something they offered to do. It was when they said, hey, just so you know, we're gonna be working.
I didn't mean to imply
Yeah.
that I was thinking ill of a railroad company for gouging anyone.
That's fine. Just because I was aware of the sequence of that conversation, I want to make
Didn't
it
mean to
known
imply that.
that he did pursue that, just because the concrete panels, we've noticed the difference in the traveling across aspect, and so.
Still think they should cut us a deal.
I mean, they are doing the labor for free.
Huh?
They're gonna do the labor for free.
Counselor Thompson.
My other ad, as far as Fourth Street goes, going back to our Safe Routes to School thing of making it more pedestrian friendly, multimodal, you right now could not ride a bike across those tracks. And it being one of the main routes into the park, I think for kids to be able to ride a bike on that road would be really lovely.
Thank you.
Caleb, do you want to speak also?
Oh, yeah, Counselor Shields.
Are we tied to this meeting to make a decision?
We aren't. I've asked when they're moving forward with their maintenance project. I'm not exactly sure what their timeline is. There is like a 4-week lead time on ordering these panels. And they have, like I said, started to show up with supplies, but I also know they can't do anything until asphalt plants start running. Although with the weather we've had, that could be this week. I don't think anybody's paving this week, but the weather's been abnormally good for it. I don't have a clear timeline on how quickly I need to move forward, but we're not, if we don't want to decide tonight, I think that's okay, and I can say I can have a decision in March or postpone, so.
Well,
Just if you haven't been watching, they keep saying we're right now at a tipping point, and we're supposed to get a big push of cold, wet weather from far north, so it might not be ideal for a week or two, so.
May I ask, not that I'm against waiting for any reason, but what would you be hoping to, what information would you be
Because
hoping
my
to get?
decision will be largely based on the difference of lifespan between the two, and we don't have a lifespan on what they're going to do. And if it's only a 5 or even a 10-year difference between the two, I don't see any reason to invest more money in it. I have a feeling there's a significant difference, but I don't know, and I don't want to make a decision without knowing.
I would be curious to know when they last did like Sixth Street, because I know they have come back and done a little bit of patchwork here and there with Fourth, but I think Sixth has pretty much been, maybe it might be our most pure example of how old that asphalt is.
But if I had to make a choice, I would only do Fourth Street. If I had to make a choice tonight. Both.
I am not one to want to put pressure. I always think that having more information is better. I'm not too comfortable with a timeline of waiting to decide whether we decide yes or no. I feel like we'll be in a better position for ordering and getting it done with their work if we can make a decision tonight. I just want to put that out there. Obviously, the council is who's voting, right? The recommendation was to please prioritize potential improvements. What I'm hearing consensus-wise would be that Fourth Street focus. Doing both, that top end would be the $46,440.75. These numbers, I'm assuming you can work with this or under? Okay. And then the other option, I mean, we can say, no, thank you. We don't want to pursue this. Do I have anyone here on the council that thinks absolutely not, we should not expend street maintenance and repair funds on this project?
If I knew the difference, I might. That's my hang up.
I'm on the fence.
Counselor Luker?
Well, I've seen what the concrete panels will do with time. If you guys travel between Sheridan and Willamina, they have concrete panels going into Willamina, and they probably were installed about 13, 14 years ago, and it's like glass going over them. So I think it's worth pursuing. I don't know if I can vote yes for it tonight, though, without having more information.
Okay. We always have the option, Nathan, if you could be in communication, if the timeline is going to be very much of a crunch. I'm happy to call a special meeting with the information that we would all feel comfortable with if that's what we need to do to make a decision. Otherwise, I'll just ask for a motion to table this item until we have information at the next meeting. And then if you have more thoughts or concerns or specific questions, if you could get those to staff within the next couple of days, that will give Nathan the heads up to get everything ready for us. And then if we, because of a very specific time crunch, need a vote on this, I will change our work session to a special council meeting again. Does that sound good?
That's fine.
All right. Can I get a motion to table this agenda item?
I move to table this agenda item.
I second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a couple seconds to table the railroad crossing improvements discussion until our next meeting. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Item is tabled. We are finished with new business and we'll move into department reports. We saw Nathan's in our packet. Do you have anything to add this evening?
Nothing to add unless there's questions on any of the items in there. Well, actually, I do want to note on the water treatment plant project, one of the big shifts that we've been trying to figure out when to do is there are several pipes that need to be essentially removed from connection to the old treatment plant. Oh, sorry. And then tied into new pipes going to the new treatment plant or the new clear well, if you will. It's that final piece. That's going to be the the most nerve-wracking switchover for us, just because there's not going to be a way for the city to produce water for, we're hoping, just a couple of days, but could be up to a week. There's a couple of challenges associated with that, with those tie-ins that leave some questions in the air.
Is it that if things go well, it will be a couple days to a week of no production?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, if things go well, we're expecting at least a couple of days.
Okay.
But our reservoir should handle a couple of days just fine. We're currently working on refilling that reservoir, but we're anticipating that work may start the week of February 16th, and if not the week of February 16th, then definitely the week of February 23rd. It depends on how quickly we can fill our reservoir over the next week and a half. So,
I have a comment.
yeah.
Nathan, what's a contingency plan? Because it's Murphy's Law and nothing ever goes right.
I know. The biggest contingency is going to be to have that reservoir as full as possible, which should last us, honestly, during a winter demand, we can probably last close to a week if it's completely full. The other contingency is just that we're going to have everybody there on site and working until it's running again. So
It might not be a bad idea just to initiate a conversation with Mac Water and Light. I know in times of crisis, they have resources for water production. That would definitely be like a worst case scenario on our part, but I feel like it's important to ask for outside support when we need it or to have that backup plan. I know in the past we've had to work with Oregon Emergency Management to get bottled water in. I'm not saying I anticipate any of that, but with Councilor Luker asking, what's the contingency plan? Maybe we should triple up on what might happen if things.
We've also historically had partners in neighboring cities like Sheridan who have stepped in and helped us when we have repairs that are an emergency situation. So it might be worth a call to some of our neighbors that, hey, a heads up, we're doing this work. We don't expect any issues, but can we call on you if we need help?
And I think between our public works, our engineers, and the contractors, it won't be a matter of having enough people to work on it. It will be a matter of the time it takes where we aren't able to produce water. But yeah, I know Dayton has came to the rescue with the generator in the past. Very much helpful.
In the interest of just not dry down, that's for too much, just a public, like, hey, maybe this is a week to wash your cars. Not a, I mean, not an alarming water conservation notice, but just a, we're doing this switch,
No,
running off the reservoir,
I think it will
do
be,
your part to keep the reservoir as full as possible until we're 100% switched over.
yeah, very important to be proactive with that messaging to let people know yes, we need your help and this is what we are doing. Because I feel like a lot of people are also waiting to hear, we have our brand new treatment plant actually, actually doing what it's supposed to do. So that will be something to celebrate, but I think asking for everyone's help and really just being transparent and putting it out there will be of benefit.
We can get it on the water bill in time too, that might be helpful.
No,
No, because it's already.
it just went
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
Yes. Do you have other additions to your report?
I don't think so.
Do you have a time for that historic landmarks open house?
I do, 6:30.
Thank you.
Yes, sorry.
And that's here.
Yeah, it'll be 6:30 here.
Okay. Tasha, do you have anything to add to your report? Okay. Public Works, Library, City Engineer, City Attorney, and Planning. Any questions from the council on those? All right, we'll move on to good of the order. We'll start with Council President Melissa Bojorquez.
I'm sure that council knows because we've all read the packet, but I just want to put it out there that the plastics project that we've heard from within council will be here this weekend. Yes, this weekend, Saturday, February 7th at McMinnville Covenant Church from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So you can bring all of your hard to recyclable plastics, and it's $4 per grocery bag. So it's worth doing if you're interested in recycling that.
Thank you. Councilor Shields? Anything for the good of the order?
No, I have nothing to add.
Okay. Councilor Thompson? Nothing to add. Councilor Rachel Blanco?
Nothing to add.
Councilor Chad Luker?
Nothing to add, Mayor.
Councilor Michael Blanco?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, and I don't know if you guys are going to believe this. I don't have any final comments this evening, except we have goal setting coming up at the end of the month. Make sure you block out your calendar for that. And just to add to, oh, nope, I totally tricked you guys. I do, never mind. Historically, the city has supported the Daffodil Festival by putting on a free children's craft. So I donate, and Councilor Bojorquez has also our time. It's just a free craft for anyone that comes. It's actually all ages. We have the supplies and we help all day. You can come and make a craft. In the past years, I've come to the council and asked for up to a $50 budget for those supplies. And that pretty much is, other than our time donation that we put in year-round, that is the city's partnership in this. And so because of that, the city of Amity is listed as a partner in their advertising and everything we do. So just quick consensus to make sure no one is opposed to me having a $50 budget for a daffodil craft.
Go for it.
Okay, cool. That, though, is my report and final comments for the evening. So if we don't have anything else for the good of the order, I'll entertain a final motion.
Motion to adjourn?
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Please signify by saying no. 7:05, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.